Welcome to Close Up Radio, where our hosts, Doug Llewellyn and Jim Masters, bring you the amazing stories of people who answered the call to unlock their potential and taken control of their own success with authenticity, creativity, persistence, and resilience. Close Up Radio special guests share their knowledge and wisdom so you, the listener, can live the most empowered life possible. Close Up Radio. And now, here's today's host, Doug Llewellyn.
Well, thank you so much. Hi, everybody. I am Doug Llewellyn. Nice to have you with us today. We're excited because the Cowgirl Shaman is back with us today. Terri Jay. We've had the blessings of her presence on shows before. She's an exciting lady to talk to, and if you don't know who I'm talking about, you'll learn as we go along. Let me point out some facts. We're all totally aware, and maybe you're not, but you should be totally aware that your loved ones are around you all the time. And they're always trying to get through to you. But, you know, we're kind of oblivious to the signs. So many people can benefit from information about how to deal with life's challenges that is given to someone else through intuition. Intuition, by the way, is not a gift, it's an ability, and it's teachable. Terri Jay is the Cowgirl Shaman. She's an intuitive life coach, and an energy healer who helps clients answer life's big questions, and she's been doing it for years, for over 30 years, no question about it. She is an amazing psychic person, and she's got such knowledge. With just a few pieces of information, she can instantly make connections with animals, deceased loved ones, but most importantly, she helps her clients connect with themselves. She says she's just channeling the information. The important thing is to listen, and it doesn't matter where it's coming from. If it's positive and helpful, just listen. And here's something else pretty fascinating. While all animals are telepathic, Terri enjoys a real special relationship with horses. She says the information she is able to discern through horses can actually be life-changing, but it can also be a burden. And people have to understand when you open yourself up to receive any of this kind of information, you receive the information, says Terri. Many people wish to communicate with their dog or their horse or their loved ones who have passed on, but when you open yourself up to one, you get them all. You can't break it down to just the parts you want. It can be wonderful, and sometimes it can be scary at the same time. When not offering readings, Terri is hard at work pitching a television show, which, we all hope is going to come about for her one of these days, the Cowgirl Shaman. Anyway, it will show people receiving readings and through their life-changing positive results. It's really a great idea. It's going to give people a better understanding of the value of all this information and how it comes about. So anyway, let's bring her on now. There are people waiting online, so people know that Terri is here and is our guest today. Terri Jay, welcome back. How are you? Nice to have you with us today. How you doing?
It's great to be here.
Well, obviously it's great to have you. You're out in Nevada today. What's it like out there?
Oh, it's gorgeous. About 75 and sunny. Just beautiful.
Oh, sounds good enough indeed. All right. Tell me a little bit about, for people who have not heard you before on the air, and I know there are some who aren't really familiar with your amazing talents, tell us, our audience, a little bit more about what you do, who you work with, and what your intention is when you work with folks, about illuminating them about what, as you put it, what the real deal is. Talk a little bit about that. It's you.
Well,
tell me about it.
When I started doing this, I heard a nonverbal child speak to me in my horseback therapy program. And, I mean, you could have knocked me over with a feather because at the time I didn't even know it was really going on. But once I had it confirmed that I did, in fact, hear unspoken English, then it was like, well, you ought to learn to communicate with the horses because it's the same thing and it would make the program really safe. I was, doing horseback therapy with disabled kids. So I started out just wanting to be, an animal communicator. And, of course, man plans, God laughs. And so now I know that there's no limit to all of these abilities. And it's like you said, once you open yourself to one part of it, you get all of it. And so I just really love it because it can really help and improve and help people to heal their lives and also helps their animals to heal too.
Which is more important, people coming to you wanting to communicate with their animals, and I know you can do this with dogs, cats, chickens, horses, a little bit of anything. either that or their loved ones who've passed on to the other side, which is how you term it. What's the primary, goal of many of these people? Who do they want to reach?
I think a lot of people, they don't believe in this, but they want to try it. And so I'm just given specific details about that person's life where they're reassured that I am, in fact, in touch with that person. And it's details that there's no way I can know. I always joke I can't make this stuff up, but I use a different S word.
Yeah. What's amazing? What's amazing is that you it just comes to you, right? How do you communicate with? There's so many questions I have. It's really I'm mumbling here. Let's talk about how you do communicate with someone on the other side. Let's say not me, but I mean somebody. Look, we have callers who are on the line that want to talk to you. Maybe that's what they want to do. But the bottom line is, when people come to you and say, "I'd like to communicate with my Uncle George who just passed away, I don't know, a year ago," what do you do? How do you make it happen?
Well, I have to ground. I have to do some things to myself. I have to make sure I'm grounded. I have to make sure I'm out of my own way, that I'm not in ego, because ego means easing God out. So I even have to not have a need to be correct in the reading. And then it's just a matter of connecting to the person. All I need is their name, age of passing, maybe what they did for a living. I just need my client to talk about them a little bit so that I can feel that love connection, that energetic connection to the deceased person, and then boom, I got him. And a lot of times I'll start out laughing because I'll tell them, it happened this morning when I did a crossing over reading. And this guy that I was talking to on the other side was so funny. Oh, my goodness. He made me laugh. He was making faces. He was just a wisecracker. It was so much fun. And then, of course, he did give me details where, my client that I was on the phone with knew exactly that I had him, that it was specific to him. So it's so fun to do that, and especially with animals that have passed. People are shocked to find out that, their dog died, they went out and got a new dog, and then the new dog starts acting like the old dog, and it's almost heartbreaking for them because they feel like they don't understand it. And then when you tell them that the new dog, the old dog walked into the new dog, and so they're sharing that physical form, the one that was in there before, and then, the old dog's spirit walked in, and they're just like, oh, good, there's an explanation for it, thank goodness. So it's pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing.
If it wasn't for physics,
said, by the way, you actually were looking at this guy that you were talking to this morning. You saw it, he smiled, and is that right? You're getting the image in your head.
Oh, yeah, it's like holograms. It's like having holograms in your face. But, see, I do remote viewing, too. I especially use that for when I'm trying to find lost pets. I do remote viewing and map dowsing, which can really help to locate the energy of an animal that's missing. And I did that this morning too. But I'm not sure if I'm there with my client, seeing the person next to them, because they're always with you, or if I'm just being shown that person, or if that person's visiting me or the other person, or it's happening at the same time. Because, spirits are energy, they're essence. So it can be in more than one place at one time.
Okay, I understand that. And when people, how does one communicate with a dog? I mean, really, what if they want to communicate? What are they asking you to find out about their dog, their or cat, or whatever the animal is they want to communicate? I mean, how does that begin?
All I need is the animal's name, age, and sometimes breed, and then what the problem is, and by that point I've connected to the animal, and then I can relay to my client what the animal says about that issue or problem. Because a lot of times we have animals that have behavioral issues, and the dog will go, it's not a problem for me, it's just a problem for the owner. So those are kind of funny.
These are animals that have passed away, though, is that right?
Oh, the animals that have passed away, sure. Yeah, it's just amazing what they tell me. And they'll give me like a visual image of a place they love to go. And oh God, dogs have shown me how they've ridden on the front of a kayak. and just all kinds of very specific details that they give me where the owner knows that I am, in fact, communicating with that pet that's passed. And it's so funny, though, most of the time they'll go, but I'm here, I'm right here, and they'll be trying to show me that they're in another dog body.
Interesting. That's pretty amazing. But you're talking also about being able to communicate with a pet right now that someone has, and they say, something's wrong with this little pup, I want to know what's going on, and you can help them find out, right?
Absolutely. And people call me because they're having a health issue, and I'll go, have you been to the vet? That's my first question. Have you been to the vet? Right. Because they should use me when the vet is stumped, not for normal, everyday things that veterinarians should be dealing with. That's why they call me, is when the vets are stumped. Or, I did that with a horse this morning, that they can't get a diagnosis on the lameness in a horse, and they're looking at the foot, and I'm going, nope, we're way up high. We're in the withers. We're in the withers where the neck meets the withers. So, it was a totally different scenario than what this gal was being told. So it's very helpful because we're also given ways to address it at the same time, which is really helpful.
All right, let's shift from animals. We'll get back to animals, and let's talk about people. You talk about loved ones are all around us all the time. Is that right?
Absolutely. They just become non-physical. We don't understand when someone dies, oh, my God, we're so bereft. But we're 99% energy and only 1% physical. So all we've lost when we pass is the 1% of us that is physical. The rest is energetic and around all the time. So to me, people that have passed are just non-physical. Now, the cool thing is as we pass, everything that's not a vibrational match to Source or God gets shed off and left behind. So we all do negative energy garbage dumping on the way to the other side. And, of course, it happens instantly. The unfortunate thing is that there's a lot of mediums that will tune into that negative energy garbage, and because it looks like, feels like, and sounds like the deceased, they assume that is how the deceased is, and that they're stuck, they can't cross over, they have unfinished business, or all of that, stuff that is just not true. Everyone goes to the other side instantly, and everyone is fine.
Well, that's good. It's good to know that. It really is good to know that. Listen, I mentioned we have people who've been online to talk to you. They know that you were going to be here today. Are you willing to talk to one or two people and see what they want? I mean, you don't have to do a reading for them. Let's just bring them on and see what they have to say, okay? Let's try one. Okay, all right. I'm going to introduce you now to a lady named Kate. She's calling you from Florida. Kate, go ahead. You're on with Terri right now. What would you like to ask her?
Thank you, Doug. Hi, Terri.
Well,
hey.
If you are willing to do a reading, I would like that very much. And my question is always, whatever you receive for my highest and best good.
Well, I want to get specific about what you need help with, because I get overwhelmed with information unless you can narrow it down for me.
Okay.
Because I do everything.
Is there anything that immediately comes to you in terms of energy?
What I'm getting is health issues, and that you need to look for good energy healing in order to address those. You do have a lot of stuck negative emotions that you should process out. So I would think of who's hurt you, who's taken your power, write them letters, tell them off, and then burn those letters while you say out loud, nobody's ever going to treat me like that again. Most of the issues you're dealing with are disempowerment. That's very typical.
Yeah.
Does that ring a bell?
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
Well, look, there's one example. There's one example. Let's go to another example, Terri. All right, this lady's name is Donna, and let's see, Donna is waiting to talk to you. She's in Santa Barbara. Donna, go ahead. You're on with Terri.
Hi, Terri. Nice to talk to you. I really enjoy this show. It's brilliant. What I wanted to ask you is, I can hear my mother. She's on the other side. Her name is Ann. She's been gone for about 35 years. And I heard her about a year ago, her voice in the middle of my head that said, "You're going to be rewarded." So I wanted to know if you could find out what she means by that. Maybe I'm going to get married, or money's going to come in, or abundance. And I wanted to know if you could pick up on that, please.
To me, that feels like all of the above. That you just want to make sure you're not blocking the abundance, whatever that is. Use the law of attraction and give thanks for whatever it is that you want as if you already have it. So that's what I'm getting from her. Also, the other thing I get from her is that her spirit is already back in physical form. Even though she's still on the other side, her spirit has reincarnated into someone in the family or the vicinity of the family. She's already come back. And it's very important. To me, it feels like she came back very soon after she passed.
Oh,
does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, she had a really hard life, and then she got cancer that devoured her, and oh my gosh, she had a real hard life. So, yeah, she wanted to come back and have a better life, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but you just have to figure out
that?
Who she is.
Yeah, what do you think about Donna, that she may already be back in the form of someone else?
Well, I'm going to try and be very perceptive onto the people that I do know to pick up that perhaps this is her that came back,
Yeah, and it's not necessarily one. Reincarnation is not necessarily linear. It can be, but it's not necessarily linear. You can take 10 spirits and put them into one physical form. You can take one spirit and put it in 10 physical forms.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's not necessarily linear.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
It can be, but not necessarily.
Okay. So going back to my mom and the message she gave me, so I may get married in this lifetime, right? Something I've always wanted. I'm now 67, so I would like to fulfill that before I go on to another life.
Yeah, but you have so many fears from early heartbreak. You've got to process those out the same way that I shared with the previous person. Think about who took your power. Tell them off in a letter. Burn the letter. Say out loud, nobody's ever going to treat me like that again. There's too much fear blocking you from having a relationship.
Oh, you're so right. Yeah, a lot of heartbreak, a lot of trauma. Yeah.
Right. So definitely process it. Burn it, and say out loud, nobody's ever going to treat me like that again. And you cannot believe how cathartic that is. But then make sure you're in touch with the law of attraction. Watch the movie The Secret. Download The Science of Getting Rich. And read those, and that'll really help cement the law of attraction within you so that you're giving thanks for what you want as if you already have it.
I like that.
I love my husband. I love my new... You need to say, I love my new husband. I love my new husband.
Okay.
And instead of where is he, there he is, there he is, there he is. See the difference?
Yes. Yeah.
You got this.
I get it. I do.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right.
Okay.
Take care.
Well, there you go. That's pretty fascinating. Now you connect. You just connect, right? It just happens to you. It's amazing how that
Doug,
can happen.
Doug, if it wasn't for physics, I could not do this because I am not a woo-woo person at all. I'm out there shoveling manure twice a day, okay? I'm a really down-to-earth person. And if it wasn't for the understanding of physics, which means everything is energy, frequency, vibration, if it wasn't for that and knowing that my work is based in physics, I couldn't do it. I just could not do it. I would creep myself out.
You're known as a Cowgirl Shaman. Explain. A lot of people don't know what that means. What does that mean? You tell them. What does it mean?
Well, we all know what a cowgirl is. I mean, I'm a lifelong professional horse person. Everybody knows what that is. But as far as a shaman, I really like that term because a shaman is a healer that also connects with other realms, and that's what I do. So I like it because it makes me kind of an anomaly because I'm here, this down-to-earth, manure shoveling person that works in the ethers. I really like it.
I have the feeling that people must want to turn to you and ask you questions all the time. They're kind of afraid to come to you 10 times a day, but if they could, they would. What are some of the most interesting kinds of challenges you've faced in this role of yours? How would you answer that?
I would say people being in resistance. That it's like they want to ask you and you tell them how to address something, but they're in resistance due to fear or belief. You know, a lot of people have what I call cognitive dissonance, which means even when they're faced with truth, they cannot choose to believe that truth because it would destroy them from the inside because their belief system is so rooted in whatever they have. So resistance and cognitive dissonance, which is just another form of resistance, those two things I think are the biggest obstacles that I face, you know, when dealing with someone.
When it comes to talking to family members who passed on, but you know they're around, people come in and say to you, or do they come in and ask you, look, I'd like to ask my mother a question, and can you do that? And is that what happened? Can you answer a direct question and get a direct answer? Yes, and I'm going to have a caveat on here. The problem is that once people are out of the physical realm, they're not interested in the physical realm dealing. They're not going to tell you where they hid their will or where the stamp collection is. People ask me that stuff all the time. They go, does he see what's happening with the estate? And it's like, no, because they cannot perceive anything negative here. And this is a big mistake that a lot of people make, is they want to ask for guidance and help from their deceased relatives when the relatives cannot see anything negative here, therefore they can't help them. But the cool thing is we all have tons of guides. Our guides are around us 24/7, ready and willing to answer questions and give guidance. Do those on the other side have recollection of what they did? For example, a lady wants to communicate with her father, who was a doctor. When you talk with him or communicate with him, does he know he was a doctor, the person you were talking to, or not?
Yeah, but it's really interesting. Oh, absolutely. They'll even show me stuff. Like a lot of times I'll tune into somebody and I'll go, okay, his hands look really greasy. And they'll go, well, he was a mechanic. And I said, okay, well, he's just showing me his dirty hands. He's very proud of that, So sometimes I'll get things like that from here. And to me, to him, greasy hands were like a reward for the work he did. It was not a negative, where some of us might go, ew, he had greasy hands. But they do remember things, but only the positive. Like a doctor would only remember all of those people that he helped. He would not have any recollection of the people that passed.
Okay, I understand that. Yes, I understand that.
I mean, he'd see the people on the other side that passed, but wouldn't associate, maybe he screwed up there, and that's why they died. Because nothing negative can go to the other side. We have to think of it in terms of vibrational match.
It's interesting the difference between communicating with people and communicating with an animal. For example, I'm reading a number of your testimonials on your website. You have a great website, by the way. Terri's website it's her name, TerriJay.com. And Terri is spelled TerriJay. TerriJay.com. If you go to that website, you'll learn a lot of the things that Terri does, and you'll see the testimonials from a lot of people she's helped, and you'll learn how to get in touch with her yourself, direct. It's very easy. But you've helped veterinarians a lot with animals who've had problems and they've been stumped, not knowing quite what to do, and yet you've come along and given them that missing clue. This happens a lot with you, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, and that's why I tell people, go to the vet first, and then if the vet doesn't figure it out or, can't address it, then call me. I'm not a substitute for veterinary care or doctor care, but I'm there when you get stumped, or when they're stumped. There's been a couple times where people have said, my horse has navicular, and I go, no, it doesn't. And it's like, oh, shut up, Terri, you're not supposed to go against the veterinarian. But then, I get something completely different. There was a mule one time that was screaming in agony, and there were 5 veterinarians there, over 120 years of veterinary experience. And my friend calls me on the phone, puts me on speakerphone, and I said, he's passing a kidney stone. It's in his penis. And they all looked at each other like, really? And, of course, then he urinated, plunk, out it came, and now that veterinary office won't come out to my horses because he goes, she's a witch.
Wow. What's the most unusual communication you've ever had with an animal? Anything come to mind?
Oh, God, there's so many of them. There's so many of them. I think people are really flabbergasted when they find out that the spirit of an animal has come back to them like 6, 7, 8 times in a lifetime, for them, that they keep getting the same spirit back. They're flabbergasted at that. So that's always so healing.
Yeah, it's hard to understand, but that is pretty doggone amazing. How often do you get requests for this? I mean, is it a daily thing you go through? What's your life like?
Oh, I do up to 12 readings a day. If they're
Really?
half hours, I do up to 12 a day. Yeah, and I work 6 days a week, and I specialize in barrel horses because they're so fun, and but I do everything, and I do everything except predictions and police work. I won't do predictions because I believe they're unethical due to the law of attraction. And I won't do police work because it's yucky. I don't like doing yucky stuff.
Have the police come to you and asked you for help? I'm sure they must have at some point.
No, they don't. And the only negative I had with that is I was a suspect one time because I was at my chiropractor and he asked me about this double homicide that happened, and he said, "You getting anything on that?" And I just thought a minute, dropped in, and went blah blah blah, and gave him all these details. And by the time I got home, the sheriff was at my front door because I was then a suspect, because I knew things about the double homicide that were not made public. So I was in trouble. So I did work on that case a little bit, but that's sort of why I don't do police work.
Tell me what a typical reading with you is like. It's you do 30 minutes, but in that 30-minute time, you can cover a lot of territory. Obviously, right?
Absolutely. Well, and I do 30 minutes and an hour. I do hour readings because sometimes people, usually the first time people are trying me out, and those are the half-hour sessions. And then once they've worked with me, then it's either like a tune-up for 30 minutes or it's like, oh, my goodness, I have tons of issues I want to talk to you about. Let's do an hour. So I do both. And it's usually I just say, how can I help? I love starting things with how can I help? Because that is really what I want to do is serve. I want to be of service. And it's just amazing what happens because somebody will be talking to me about, a problem with their barrel horse or something, and I'll go, okay, your grandfather passed, and he goes with you to every barrel horse, and he's very critical of your driving. And, I mean, they just burst into tears and laughing at the same time, because it's like they can hear their grandfather in their head while they're driving, criticizing their driving.
Well, that's funny. I was just going to say, it's amazing what you do and how things happen. I haven't mentioned, people can go online and order an ebook that you have out. It's, I understand it's really quite something, and you will download the book to them, right?
Well, I have an ebook, and I also have a paperback. And the paperback they can get on Amazon. It's called The Cowgirl Shaman Way, 7 Easy Steps to Develop Your Intuitive Ability. And that is available on Amazon. It's also available on my website. If you get it on my website, I can autograph it for you. I'm happy to do so. And you can also get the ebook on Amazon or on my website.
Well, I think that's great, Terri. You're an amazing lady, and we really thank you so much for taking the time to be. Anybody who wants to learn more about Terri, seriously, go to this website, terrijay.com. It's very easy, and you will. And Terri, by the way, it's important how you spell Terri. It's Terrijay.
Correct.
terrijay.com. And you'll get back to them. They communicate with you, and you'll get right back to them, right? No question.
Absolutely.
All right. Terri, thank you for being with us. I hope we can talk again. I love chatting with you and hearing you out. You work instantaneously with people on the phone. That I find is astonishing. Anyway, everybody, that'll do it for this edition of Close Up Talk Radio. Nice to have you with us again. Terri Jay, thanks for being a guest. And, folks, thanks for holding on the line for us. We appreciate your being with us. No kidding. Helps make the show pretty interesting. Thank you. That'll do it for this edition, everybody. I'm Doug Llewellyn. We'll see you next time right here on Close Up Talk Radio. Till then, take care of yourself and do be safe. Bye.